So let's talk a little bit about why the markets are falling after Powell's dovish speech. So this right over here, of course, was his speech when the markets flew up. So why are we falling now? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, see this right here? This downtrend line. Let me get out of here. Let me zoom out a little bit. See that downtrend line. Sorry, my screen's a little messy here. That's inaccurate. This downtrend line was the big one starting from the very beginning of the year. It hit it and it fell back down. So the first reason here is technical. This downtrend line is going to be very difficult for us to get past. Okay? So that's the first reason. Let's zoom back in. The second reason is economic data. All right? So this right here was a really big algo overreaction to some data that came out on Friday. And that data was the payrolls data. It, I believe, was estimated we would add 200,000 jobs, and we added 263, I think. So it was a really good piece of economic data that came out. Most of the economic data that's coming out is actually quite good. The economy is doing very good. And that paradoxically creates a situation wherein it gives the Fed more leeway to keep raising rates. And so that's why when we get good economic data, that often it causes the markets to go down. Now, this right here, I think, was probably some sort of weird algorithmic overreaction. I think probably algos at one fund kicked off, and it kicked off algos at another fund, and it just just kind of spiraled into that. And that's why by the end of the day, we had recovered all of it, pretty much. Now, we kind of continue to go down. I believe it was yesterday we had this fall right here. Yesterday, we had some pretty good ISM data come out that showed that there's a lot of growth in all the non-manufacturing sectors. So that's still, again, good economic data. And with good economic data, like I just said, that gives the Fed more leeway to raise rates. So that is why we're falling. Now, that's the fundamental reason, and I already showed you the technical reason bouncing off of this. There also is there is another downtrend line in here somewhere, and this was the bottom of an ascending triangle. I would have to go find that. But anyway, there's multiple technical reasons why we're falling here. And when you get those combined with some fundamentals, in this case, paradoxically, good economic data, then that causes people to say, hey, we don't know about Powell's speech over here because next week on Tuesday is CPI and on Wednesday is FOMC. So if people are saying, man, we heard what Powell said over here on last Wednesday, we know what he said, but that CPI data might come in bad. That's what you've got a lot of people saying right now. Personally, I'm using this time to accumulate. I'm selling puts on positions to accumulate stock as the prices fall. And, if it pushes back up, that's fine. I'll just keep my money on the puts. That's my position because I can look at the overall long-term data and see that the economy is doing just fine and that inflation is lessening. We're scheduled next Tuesday to have a full inflation number of, I believe, 0.3 and a core of 0.4. I actually think it might come in a little bit better than that. I don't know how well they've taken into account in those gasoline prices. Gasoline prices have fell pretty good, and I think they fell more rapidly than estimates suggested. So that's kind of my thought. I think core is going to come in better than 0.4 because transportation costs should push throughout the rest of core and hopefully help us bring down those food prices. Food has been one of the big issues in the CPI. So that's just kind of a few of my thoughts, and people were wondering why we were pushing down. after Powell's speech over the last few days. So I wanted to kind of address that. Hopefully that kind of cleared things up for you. Thank you. Have a nice day.